Now, as we continue to mourn the death last night of the legendary Joe Mafela in an accident here in Johannesburg, let's now talk to musician Arthur Mafokate. Arthur, good to talk to you. First of all, your reaction to the death of Joe Mafela.
Honestly, when I heard it, I thought it was a joke. You know, I asked people if was this a joke or what, because, you know, people can do things, because I just found it hard to believe, like, we just lose such a legend so quick, you know, and I researched and I realized that it was true, and obviously it's sad for me, you know, it's a very big loss for the whole nation, more especially the arts industry.
Mm-hmm. And Arthur, we are still trying to piece together what happened last night. Do you, by any chance, at all have the finer details of the accident itself?
No, like I said, you know, things just happened, you know, out of nowhere. We don't really know what happened. And for me, I was just a bit shocked, and because I was going to church, so I couldn't even really find time to find out what happened. Because at first I thought it was illness, and then somebody told me it was an accident, and I said, oh wow, why so tragic? And I just don't really know what happened. And you know, you try to think about a whole lot of things, you know, your interactions with the legend himself, rather than trying to find out how he left us. You know, everything just comes back. You know, when last did you see him? What was your first encounter when you met him? You know, you leave the other things to other people, but you try and, you know, remember him in a way that he touched you.
Yes. And speaking of exactly that, what would you say were your fondest memories of the late Mafela, and did you have any personal interaction professionally with him?
Obviously, we all grew up knowing him, and, you know, watching School is Nice and a whole lot more comedy shows on TV, and we fell in love with the character. And I think in 1996 or something, local elections, I got a call that I have to come do music for a TV show that he was producing that's called Kulilega. That was about educating people to vote and stuff like that. And I couldn't believe it, and yes, it happened, and I managed to be in the same series with him, being on the set with him, managed to, you know, get that wisdom. And as a person that comes from Shawela, where I used to stay as well, you know, as kids we would always go to that street and, you know, just go and look at the house. You know how we are when we know that there is a celebrity staying around. So I have, you know, encountered him, you know, had an encounter with him a couple of times besides working with him, and, you know, it has always been a good experience. And he would always joke about my dad's horses and stuff like that, and, you know, like the wisdom more than any other thing. And I remember again in 1996, was it 96, when he performed that song, the Congo Mamela or something like that, at the stadium, FNB Stadium, before the CAF Cup, you know, the AFCON Cup. And the whole crowd just went mad, and I didn't even know that song. You know, when you think you've arrived and you are the biggest star, and then here's an old man just walking on the field, waving to people, holding a microphone, and the crowd going mad. That's one of my fondest memories about Ntate Mafela.
And what then would you say was Mafela's legacy to South Africa's music and the general arts?
Passion. You know, he was passionate about what he was doing. He loved the arts industry. You know, regardless of the age, regardless of the difficulties that they've been through, because they started acting, doing these things before, way before, you know, we could even achieve freedom. And most of the people that have been in that era did it for passion more than any other thing, because they didn't really get enough money, but they still kept on going, and they conquered, even in this era. You know, for somebody that has conquered from the theaters in the townships to the big theaters in the cities, to TV, and end up being a producer and being a partner of a big company that produces TV comedies and stuff like that. And even sitcoms themselves, we were not really, you know, sure that South Africans could do sitcoms of that nature, because we just grew up watching sitcoms from America or sitcoms from Europe or from overseas. But, you know, when you see a locally produced sitcom taking over, like, you know, As Good As Nice did, you know, you can only celebrate the achievements of the man and the legacy he has created and what he has left. If you watch a whole lot of young actors, you can see that they've taken a lot from him, and his humility surpasses everything. The humility surpasses everything. You could see that he was a human being. He suffered for him to get to where he was.
Yes. And finally, Arthur, just a quick one. How best then do you think South Africa can remember and indeed honor the late Joe Mafela?
We must remember him in song. We must remember what he has done. You know, we must just celebrate his life. Yes, we will cry for now, but after a while, we should remember what he did for the industry. And I was even saying to somebody that I even wish maybe he was honored yesterday or he just went to the SABC. You know, maybe this could have been prevented. You know, you keep on thinking about a whole lot of things, but, you know, to have a play about his life or a movie about his life would be the best for young kids that haven't had an opportunity to see him.
All right, thank you so much there. That was musician Arthur Mafokate speaking to us from Johannesburg about the death last night of the legendary actor Joe Mafela. And of course, we will continue to give you rolling coverage of this sad news right here on SABC News Channel 404.